Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, HaKodash, double honor to the apostles, elders, a great millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopefully elect. So, Brother Isaiah, back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, HaKodash, Lord, winning this lesson is edifying. Just a video the elder Karatazaba did. All right. You can't mix Hebrew Israelite doctrine with modern plantation Christian doctrine. It doesn't line up. There's this individual on here, bugged out, saying that he doesn't subscribe to One West doctrine. He says that he doesn't believe Esau is a so-called white man. He believes anybody can make it, and so on and so forth. He uses that name over there, Yahshua. Okay, and who knows what else? He probably calls the Lord, the Heavenly Father, the Hua name. All right, but nevertheless, there are things that are unbiblical that these people speak. Now the scriptures are a stumbling block. Okay, it says that Yahweh Shai will be a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. We understand that Yahweh Shai is the Word made flesh, so the Word would cause these individuals to stumble. Okay, and this is why we have to have the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodash, okay, in order to be able to go into these things. So, I just did a simple search on the word captivity. There's probably more scriptures I could have went into, but the Spirit was kind of like, that's enough. So I'm just going to kind of touch on a few of these scriptures, Lord willing, is edifying. Okay, Deuteronomy 30. First of all, the point I want to make, which we continue to make and will continue to make, through the Spirit, Lord willing, right? Is the Lord keep a spirit on us, is that the Israelites went into slavery. The Israelites were the apple of the most, we are the apple of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, of the Lord's eye, okay? And he allowed us to go into slavery. How much more those other nations who were never the apple of the Lord's eye, okay, but have done wickedly, all right? If he punished his own for their wickedness, do you not believe, okay, that these others, let's get this one, right? Surely thou shalt drink. Okay. Oh no. What's causing that? Like it. Let's try this again. I believe I'm saying this right. Okay. Yeah, John 4:14. AI is crazy. He says, as an AI, I do not drink. Okay, Jeremiah 49:12 says, for thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup of wrath, have assuredly drunken. The Israelites have drunk of the cup of the punishment, okay, and will drink of the cup, the 2/3 will drink of the cup that was meant for, as the scriptures say, Satan and his angels, which represents Esau and his constituents, right? It says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it, right? Which is the cup of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. That's just one thing. The scriptures also say the wicked shall not go unpunished. Okay. Wicked shall. Okay, so Esau, you other nations are not gonna escape judgment. Okay. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, right? So you can join yourself up with Jake, okay? If they're of the elect, they're gonna make it and you're gonna die, okay? And also say, shall in no wise acquit the wicked, right? Let's get that. It says Nahum 1. See, I don't know why it won't give me Nahum 1. Okay, here we go. KJV. Yahweh is slow to Nahum 1:3. The Lord Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Yahweh hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet, right? So the Lord is not going to acquit the wicked. Okay, you will pay. All right, so let's go back into this. Deuteronomy 30. The point I want to get is We're going to read till verse 7, right? And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, and I may not read all of this. Let me just make sure. So essentially the point I want to give is that the Lord cast us out into the four corners of the earth into captivity. Let's read verse 3. It says that then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity, okay, meaning he will turn captivity away from you, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy power have scattered thee. As the elder, I know he's not the only one that goes into it, but I got a chance to be directly under Elder Menata Zakba, okay, and he always liked to emphasize out of all nations upon the face of the earth, and that's reiterated. Okay, now let's get where's the let's go. There's a New Testament one. Out of every, let me put it this, out of every nation tongue, out of every tongue, nation. Let's see what it says. Okay, Revelation 7 and 9. Salakia, if it will, pull it out. Okay. Salakia. Okay. Gotta take a sip. Damn. It's 9, right? Okay. Revelation 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all, right? But it said he would gather us out of all nations. So when it says of all, he's really saying out of all, because here's the judgment of those nations, right? So let's continue. It says, and if any of thine be, back in Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 4, if any of thine be driven out to the outmost part of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy power will bring thee, this is a future prophecy, right? Will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And we're going to prove this is future prophecy when we continue to read. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy power will circumcise thine heart, give you a fleshly heart instead of a stony heart, as the laws written in your inward part. See, this is an end time prophecy. In the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live eternally, because we will be unable to sin. All right, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So the other nations are going to get curses put upon them. They're going to be in captivity. They're going to be, harsh, brutal slavery. And this is all biblical. You can hate it. It don't matter. Jeremiah 30. Okay. Let's see. This goes into Jacob's trouble. Also future prophecy, right? Which we're going into the Jacob's trouble. But you can see right here, it says he will cause us to return to the land in verse 3 here. And we're going to possess the what our fathers possessed, right? Okay. Verse 10, Jeremiah 30 and 10 says, therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob. I'm going to try to slow down. Saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Okay. I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether punished. So as you can see, the Lord's going to break down these other nations. They won't no longer be in rulership. Okay, it'll be the kingdom of heaven, or Israel, okay, on the planet Earth. These other nations will be broken. King of kings, Lord of lords, Yahweh Shai, as it's depicted in the scriptures, will have many crowns upon his head, because he's going to break down these other nations, man. He's going to destroy them. All right, Jeremiah 30 and 16, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, here we go, every one of them shall go into captivity. And this is why, one of the reasons why they like to say, the Old Testament done away with. No, this is a future prophecy. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Future prophecy. Future prophecy, man. You see? More. Let's get on Jeremiah 43. Jeremiah 43:11 says, and when he cometh, he shall smite the land of Egypt, and deliver such as for death to death, and such as for captivity to captivity, and such as are for the sword, which is also an end time prophecy, man. You see? End time prophecy, which this place is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. And there's something, I'm not going to read that. Lamentation 1, which this just kind of proved that we went into. Lamentation 1 and 3, Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction, and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. Out of all nations shall we be gathered. You see? She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. So yeah, I just want to kind of go into a few of these, Salakia, if any of those may not have hit home. I try to get like straight up uppercuts, to just like, look, pow. And I'm sure brothers, everybody has different tactics how they would approach it, but clearly, man, there are scriptures that are telling us that, and then there's the classics, okay? But none of these things are going to be good enough for somebody that, doesn't accept the truth, okay? And Vocab is one of those people that just does not accept the truth, man. So, I'm going to end it there. Bro, when it was edifying, call along la Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai by Shem Kakadash. All right, double honor to the apostles, peace to the elect. Shalom.